The family that froze to death had plenty of food, water, and warm clothes. Their fatal mistake? Something 9 out of 10 people do instinctively when the power dies. What kills isn't cold, it's this reflex. The lights flicker once, twice, then die completely. What happens next separates the smart from the sorry, and frankly, most people get it spectacularly wrong. Here's the brutal truth. 90% of people just sit there like deer in headlights, waiting for the power to magically return. They're convinced it'll be back in 5 minutes, then 10, then an hour passes, and suddenly they're scrambling around in pitch darkness, bumping into furniture like they've never lived in their own home before. The statistics don't lie. Only 28% of households have emergency kits ready before disaster strikes. That means 7 out of 10 families are caught completely off guard, every single time. Makes sense when you think about it. We're so used to flipping switches and having instant light that we forget electricity isn't guaranteed. But here's where things get dangerous fast. Panic sets in, and people start wandering around their homes in complete darkness. Emergency rooms see a spike in injuries during blackouts, broken bones, cuts, concussions from falls. All because someone couldn't wait 2 seconds to find a flashlight properly. Then there's the expensive mistake that'll make your wallet cry. Most folks completely ignore the fridge and freezer rules. They keep opening doors to check if the food's still cold, letting precious cool air escape every single time. A closed refrigerator stays cold for about 4 hours. Keep opening it. You're looking at maybe 2 hours before your groceries start turning into expensive compost. The weird part is how many people leave everything plugged in. When power comes back, and it will, it often returns with surges that can fry your electronics instantly. That expensive TV, your computer, the microwave, all toast because you didn't think to unplug them during the outage. Well, except for one device. Here's a trick most people never learn. Keep one lamp plugged in and switched on. Not for light, you won't be near it anyway. But when that lamp suddenly brightens up your living room, you'll know the power's back without having to guess or constantly flip switches. Let's not forget the classic mistake of trying to use your phone's flashlight for everything. Sure, it works great for 30 minutes. After that, you're dealing with a dead phone and zero communication with the outside world. The same people who forgot to charge their backup battery packs are now realizing their smartphone isn't quite as smart when it's powered off. And the weird part is how quickly people forget basic safety. They'll light candles and leave them unattended, or worse, place them near curtains and paper. Fire departments report that 7% of house fires during power outages start with candles used for emergency lighting. Most dangerous of all, the folks who think stepping outside to check things out is harmless. They have no idea that downed power lines might be lurking in their own backyard, practically invisible in the dark but potentially deadly to anyone who gets too close. Speaking of deadly mistakes, the real dangers are just getting started inside your home. You made it through the first shock without burning the house down or wandering into a snowbank. Good job. But here's where things get sneaky. Your own home just turned into a minefield, and most people have no idea. Walking outside to check what's happening. Bad move. Downed power lines don't always spark and sizzle like in the movies. They can sit there, silent and deadly, waiting for someone to step too close. Even a puddle 20 feet away can carry enough juice to kill you. The weird part is, these lines look completely harmless when they're not throwing sparks around. Then there's the candle problem. Makes sense, right? Power goes out, light some candles. Well, 7% of home fires during blackouts start this way. People get distracted, forget about that flickering flame, and suddenly they're dealing with something way worse than no electricity. Your grandmother's antique tablecloth doesn't care how romantic candles look. But wait, it gets better. Someone in your neighborhood probably fired up their generator in the garage or basement right about now. Carbon monoxide doesn't mess around. It kills in minutes, not hours. You can't see it, smell it, or taste it. 1 minute you're congratulating yourself for being prepared. The next minute you're not congratulating anyone about anything. Let's not forget the simplest fix that 90% of people completely ignore. Your circuit breakers might have just tripped. Takes 30 seconds to check. Costs nothing to try. Yet most folks assume the worst and start planning their Arctic survival strategy. Sometimes the solution is literally flipping a switch back up. And the weird part is how people suddenly forget basic physics when the lights go out. Opening doors to check on neighbors every 5 minutes. Each time you do that, you're dumping your precious warm air outside and inviting the cold in for a party. That cozy 68-degree house drops to 60 faster than you'd think. Your refrigerator becomes a ticking time bomb too, but not the way you expect. Every time someone opens it just to grab something quick, they're letting cold air escape. 4 hours, that's how long food stays safe in a closed fridge. Keep opening it like it's entertainment, and you'll cut that time in half. Then there are the electronics still plugged into your walls. When power comes racing back, it doesn't always return gently. Power surges can fry your TV, computer, and anything else still connected. Unplugging everything takes 5 minutes, but saves hundreds in replacement costs. Most people think the danger is outside. The cold, the storm, the darkness. Truth is, your biggest threats are probably sitting in your living room, or hanging out in your basement right now. But staying warm, that's where the real survival game begins, and most people are playing it completely wrong. When your breath starts forming clouds indoors, you know things just got serious. The cold doesn't negotiate, and your home becomes a battleground between warmth and survival. Here's what most people don't realize. Only 1 in 10 households actually have backup heat sources ready. The rest, they're basically crossing their fingers that the power comes back before hypothermia kicks in. Not exactly a winning strategy. Your first instinct might be cranking up space heaters if you've got a generator running. Big mistake. Those little heat demons will drain your battery backup faster than a teenager burns through data. Instead, think like your grandparents did during the Depression. Blankets become your best friend. Layer them up. Trap that body heat close to your skin. Your own body is generating warmth constantly. Don't let it escape. But here's where it gets clever. Round up your family, and pick one room to become your survival headquarters. When multiple people gather in a small space, body heat can actually raise the temperature by several degrees. It's like turning yourselves into human space heaters, except you don't need fuel. Then there's the draft situation that most folks completely ignore. Those sneaky cold air leaks around doors and windows. They're stealing your warmth like invisible thieves. Grab some towels or spare blankets and stuff them in those gaps. This simple trick can reduce heat loss by up to 25%. Makes sense, right? And the weird part is, bubble wrap becomes surprisingly useful during blackouts. Press it against your windows. The air pockets create an extra insulation layer that keeps cold air from seeping through the glass. Plastic sheeting works too, but bubble wrap has that extra cushioning effect. Your bedroom might feel cozy, but forget about sleeping there if it's upstairs. Heat rises, which sounds good in theory, but cold air sinks and gets trapped on lower floors. Pick a central room on the main level, where everyone can camp out together. Shared body heat plus strategic blanket placement equals survival comfort. Well, there's also the clothing strategy most people mess up. Don't just pile on thick sweaters. Think layers. Thin materials that trap air between them work better than one bulky jacket. Your core needs to stay warm, but don't forget your extremities. Cold hands and feet aren't just uncomfortable. They're warning signs that your body is starting to shut down circulation to non-essential areas. Let's not forget about sealing off rooms you're not using. Close doors to bedrooms, bathrooms, and any spaces where nobody's hanging out. You're essentially making your heating zone smaller and more manageable. Every bit of warmth you can contain matters when the mercury drops and the power stays off. But staying warm is only half the battle during a blackout. Your body needs fuel to generate that heat, and your water supply might be in serious jeopardy. When pipes start freezing, and your food situation becomes critical, knowing how to handle the next 6 hours could mean the difference between comfortable survival and dangerous desperation. Your fridge just became your biggest enemy and best friend at the same time. Strange? Well, here's the thing most people mess up completely. That sealed refrigerator will keep your food safe for exactly 4 hours. Not 3, not 5. 4 hours. After that, bacteria starts throwing a party you definitely don't want to attend. But here comes the tricky part. Every time someone opens that door to just check, you're cutting that time in half. The cold air rushes out faster than kids leaving school on Friday. Keep it closed. Trust the clock, not your curiosity. Then there's the freezer situation. A full freezer stays frozen for 48 hours if you don't open it. Half full, you get 24 hours max. Makes sense, right? More food equals more thermal mass to keep things cold. Your frozen pizza is actually helping keep your ice cream solid. Winter blackouts give you one weird advantage though. Your backyard becomes a giant freezer. Sounds perfect until you remember that raccoons, dogs, and every hungry critter in the neighborhood didn't get the memo about respecting your emergency food storage. They'll tear through containers like it's Christmas morning. Water becomes your next headache. Most people assume they can just melt snow and drink it. Wrong move. That innocent-looking snow carries more bacteria than a gym locker room. Boil it first. Always. No exceptions. And here's what really gets people in trouble. Pipes freeze during extended outages. No power means no heat, which means no flowing water. Smart folks fill bathtubs and containers before things get bad. The rest, they're melting snow and hoping for the best. Let's not forget the money angle here. SNAP benefits actually cover food lost during power outages. You can get replacement benefits within 10 days if you report the loss. Most people don't know this exists. They just eat the cost along with their spoiled groceries. Storage gets creative fast. Milk and meat go outside first since they spoil quickest. Condiments and hard cheeses, they're tougher than you think. Butter laughs at temperature changes. Your grandmother's pickles will outlive us all. Water storage reveals another shocking truth. Only half of families have enough bottled water for even one day. The recommendation: 1 gallon per person per day. A family of 4 needs 4 gallons daily. That adds up faster than grocery store prices. But why do so many people get the timing wrong on food safety? Because they're guessing instead of measuring. Room temperature moves the danger zone much faster than cold temperatures. Summer outages destroy food in hours. Winter outages give you a fighting chance if you play it smart. The real kicker: people worry about food while completely forgetting about medication that needs refrigeration. Insulin, certain antibiotics, some heart medications. These don't get second chances. Speaking of second chances, there's something else most people overlook during those critical first hours. While you're managing food and water, there are neighbors who might not make it through the night without help. When the lights go out, your neighbors become your lifeline. But here's what most people miss. Helping others actually helps you survive longer. Sounds backwards? It's not. Seniors face the biggest danger during power outages. Cold-related deaths spike 70% among people over 65 when heating fails. Why? Their bodies can't regulate temperature like younger folks. Check on elderly neighbors within the first 2 hours. A simple knock can save a life. But don't just knock and leave. Look for signs they're struggling. Are they shivering uncontrollably? Confused or slurring words? These are hypothermia warning signs. Get them to warmth immediately. Here's a trick that saves you stress later. Keep one light plugged in and switched on. When power returns, you'll know instantly without constantly checking your phone or wandering around testing outlets. Smart, right? Then there's the 911 problem. Emergency lines get flooded with non-urgent calls during outages. My power's been out for 3 hours isn't an emergency. Heart attacks, fires and carbon monoxide poisoning are. Save those lines for real danger. Well, when should you call for help? If someone's unconscious, having chest pains, or you smell gas. Power company issues. They already know about widespread outages. Calling them repeatedly won't fix lines faster. Emergency crews work miracles, but they need space. Crowding utility workers actually slows repairs. That curious crowd gathering around the repair truck. They're making everyone wait longer for power. Stay inside and let professionals work. Information spreads faster than wildfire during emergencies. Most of it's wrong. Your neighbor's cousin's friend doesn't have inside knowledge about restoration times. Stick to official sources like your utility company's website or local emergency management. And the weird part is, sharing accurate information makes you the neighborhood hero. Know which areas got power back first. Share it. Found a store still open with supplies. Tell others. This builds goodwill that pays back when you need help. Let's not forget about the vulnerable folks who aren't seniors. Single parents with infants struggle differently. Babies can't regulate body temperature well either. Medical equipment users face life-threatening situations when power dies. People with mobility issues can't easily evacuate if things get dangerous. Communication becomes everything when normal life stops. Create a neighborhood check-in system. One person per block keeps tabs on everyone else. Sounds old-fashioned, but it works better than hoping everyone's phone battery lasts. Group resources smart. Maybe you have extra blankets, your neighbor has a camp stove, and the family down the street has a generator. Pooling supplies stretches everything further. Plus, staying together keeps spirits up when darkness feels endless. But here's the real secret. Helping others gives you purpose during chaos. Sitting alone in the dark breeds panic and depression. Taking action keeps your mind busy and your body warm through movement. Survival isn't just about having enough food and water, it's about maintaining the human connections that keep communities strong when everything else fails. Your neighbors today become your survival network tomorrow.